Welcome back to the Design Mode tutorial series. Last time, we took a look into many of the devices available to you in the waiting room map. Now, let's switch gears into the game map and begin learning about some of the other devices available to us exclusively from the game map and begin designing our obstacle course. Let's begin by switching our waiting map to our game map by clicking on the Design Game Map button in our settings panel. Let's begin with deciding where to spawn our player into the world. We can already see that we have a spawn point active in our world, but we can of course move this around to change our player's initial spawn location. I've preset an alternate path for our player to spawn in from, and I want our player to walk up these steps to reach the top to begin the game. Currently, our player will still spawn at the original starting position, but let's move our spawn location to the new path, and let's give it a test. Awesome! Our player now begins on our new path as expected. The arrive device that you see at the end of our preset game map is the ultimate goal for our player. Once the player reaches this goal, they've cleared our obstacle course and returned to the waiting map. I've added onto our game map a bit, and I want to move our goal up to the new ending location. Let's move our arrive device to the new location and use the play here marker to avoid playing through the entire obstacle course before reaching our destination. I'll place the play here marker to just before our end goal to make sure it all works. To get to the other side to our end goal, we have to jump onto this bouncing ball, but notice that there's a door blocking our way. To deactivate this door, we have to press this lever, and this green button will activate and deactivate the lever, as well as activate the little spring platform to jump back up to the top. Once we use this spring platform to jump up, we can then jump on the bouncing ball to get to our final destination and clear our level. Awesome, we've successfully moved the goal to the new spot. But before we move on, another interesting setting that I want to highlight is the image settings. Though the goal by itself doesn't have any settings to modify in particular, we do have the access to image settings with the field for an RUID. With MapleStory Worlds, you have access to tons of MapleStory Worlds assets through our MapleStory Worlds resources page. If you search in the animation clip section for the goal, we can copy this RUID, then place it into the RUID field in our image settings, and just like that, we have an animated goal instead of a standard goal that we saw before. This can open up creative ways to modify your device visuals to match your desired theme. Next is our save device, which essentially works just like a checkpoint. At the more challenging portions of our obstacle course, we can sprinkle these save devices so that if a player interacts with this marker and gets a KO later on our map, they'll return to our save device marker. I've got a few challenging parts of this obstacle course, so let's place a few checkpoints throughout our map. We'll select the save device, then click on the desired location to place our save device. Then, let's use the play here marker again to quickly test the checkpoint function. We'll place the play here marker just before our first save devices, and let's give it a play. We'll pass by the checkpoint and see that we get the save notification on our screen as we pass by it. Then, we'll lose all 3 hearts and get a KO. Awesome, we've now returned to our checkpoint instead of returning to the start of the map. Next, let's take a look at some of the traps available to us in the game map. First, we'll take a look at the buzzsaw trap. If we click and place this trap on our map, we'll notice 3 buzzsaws grouped together in a line. If we select our buzzsaw to view the settings, we have access to the tween settings, as we saw in the previous episode when we looked at some of our other devices. So I can select Add Movement and drag the transparent clone to determine the movement between the 2 positions. After deciding our tween position, we can then click back to our original object and see the dotted line to confirm that our trap will cycle between the 2 positions. We also see the spin settings here, and the reason we have these settings is because our buzzsaw will spin around the first buzzsaw to create a bit of a timing puzzle. The spin speed setting we see here will adjust the rate that our buzzsaw spins at. Let's leave our spin speed at 1 and place our saw just above our platform. And let's press play to see how this works. As you can see, this creates an interesting timing puzzle where the player needs to time their movement to pass underneath the saw. We can also individually move and duplicate the different pieces of the buzzsaw to create an interesting rotating shape. Feel free to experiment with this to create your own unique puzzle. Next, and perhaps the most straightforward, are our spinning traps. We have the larger spinning blade and the smaller blade, resembling a shuriken. We also have our foothold spike trap that poke at the player from below. All of these behave in the exact same way and simply deduct a heart when the player comes into contact with these traps. These traps don't have any special settings or characteristics other than the tween settings as we saw earlier in our buzzsaw trap. And last but not least, we have the falling trap. If we place this trap and take a look at its settings, we can see that we don't actually have any unique settings to modify. If we like, we do also have the image settings as we've seen before to replace the image with a different image by copying and pasting a sprite RUID from our MSW resources page, but besides that, no additional settings of note. However, this trap does have a unique trait though. Let's press play and see what our trap does. Perhaps you might have already guessed what this trap can do, but as you can see, our trap falls to the floor and stops when it reaches our platform. Then, after a short duration, returns to its original position to fall again. Similar to the buzzsaw, this creates a timing puzzle for our players to try and time their movement to pass this obstacle. Moving on, we have portals. Portals unlock the classic MapleStory ability to quickly jump between the different areas of our maps, as well as move between other maps. There's already a portal in our world, but it doesn't really have a destination. If you select this portal and view its settings, we can see the portal settings options. However, we only have one option available to us, and that is the Add to the Same Map option, which allows us to essentially duplicate this portal and create copies of this portal to add to our map. To actually link our portals together, we need to click on the Settings button and access our target portal setting, which at the moment is set to nil, which is Lua programming lingo to mean nothing. Clicking on the target icon next to it brings up a list of all the portals in our world. If we had created portals in other maps, we'd be able to see those as well. At the moment, we only have one named Map01. So let's access our map settings to create a second map. Let's actually duplicate the current map and double check to make sure there's actually a portal there as well. Once we've confirmed our portal, let's move back to our original map. Then let's access the target portal setting again by clicking on the target icon next to it, where it currently says nil, and bring up our reference window. We'll now be able to see the additional portal listed here from our duplicated map. If we link the portal to this object, we'll be able to teleport to our new map. Let's link our portals together and give it a try. If we walk up to our portal and press the up arrow or the W key, we can utilize our portal. Awesome, we've successfully moved to our second map. But now, if we walk up to the portal on our other map and try to use that, we can't use the portal to move back to our original map. This is because each portal needs to have its own reference to the other portals. Updating one portal link doesn't update the target portal's reference. This allows each portal to be able to take us to different portals or to different maps, giving us unique combinations of portal references. Next up, we have mounts. Mounts give players the ability to ride the mount for a short duration of time to reach hard-to-reach areas of your map. Let's click on the mount to see what settings are available to us. Under mount settings, we can see the access to the duration value to adjust the duration that the player can ride the mount. I've set up a small area where you can ride the mount across this chasm to reach the other side to our destination. Let's give it a play and give our mount a try. As I walk up to the mount, we can see the prompt for the player to press E to ride the mount. And as I hop onto the mount and press space, we float into the air, giving us the ability to cross our chasm past our obstacles to the other side. The final device to highlight in the game map mode exclusive devices is the Quiz Fairy device. The Quiz Fairy works similar to our button and our lever devices, where interacting with the device will activate or deactivate our targeted devices, except with the twist that you need to correctly answer the question posed by the Quiz Fairy. Let's place our Quiz Fairy out into the world and take a look. Under our quiz settings, we can see the Quiz Settings button, where we can set up our questions and answers. At the top of our quiz settings window, we can switch between the short answer and the multiple choice question types. The short answer will require an exact match, case sensitive, to the text written in the correct answer field. Incorrect answers will deduct hearts. If we switch to the multiple choice, we can define different answers for the user to select the correct answer among the given choices, we'll opt for the multiple choice option and leave our text as is and select question 4 as the correct answer. As we've done with the button in the previous episode, let's assign the target we'd like to manipulate once we correctly answer the question. I've preset this game map with an obstacle course with a door device blocking our way. To remove our door, we need to correctly answer the question. Let's select Assign Target, then select our door. We can select the Deactivate Target option to deactivate our door upon correctly answering the question. Let's give it a go. We'll place the Play Here marker again just before our door to skip the rest of our obstacle course and focus on testing the quiz fairy. Then let's press play. As we walk up to our door, we can see the prompt to press E to solve the quiz. If we select question 1 as the answer, our health deducts by 1. And if we select question 4 as the correct answer, our door deactivates. A feature unique to the quiz fairy that's different from the button or the lever devices is the option to teleport to a target. If we select our quiz fairy and change our target to the portal behind the quiz fairy, we can instead teleport directly to the portal upon answering the question correctly. Let's give it another play and see this working in action. As we walk up to the door again and press E to answer our question, we'll select 4 as the correct answer, and there. We have teleported to our portal. And those are all of the devices specific to our game map that are available to us. Of course, all of the devices we went over in the waiting map are also available to us. So I encourage everyone to use their creativity to design the most unique Gem Quest maps on MapleStory Worlds. Thanks for joining me in this episode, and now that we have an understanding of how to create our Gem Quest map on MapleStory Worlds, let's release our world. In the next episode, we'll go over the steps necessary to release our design world so everyone can play.